Hi all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. I hope that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to me. Today I'm going to talk about the rule of law in the United States, the Justice Department, and the fact that we, as far as I'm concerned, are just this close to going so far that we may not be able to come back from. And why I say that is after looking at Pam Bondi today and her disgraceful performance, where she lied, where she tried to, distract, where she didn't answer questions, where she attacked people, where she basically was full of shit when it came to the Epstein files, saying they didn't have the time, when they've been looking at those files since last March, and that somehow they had the time to cover up the men who were involved, but they didn't have the time to cover up the women, the victims' names. Okay, that's just, part one here. Part two is that we just had 6 senators / House of Representatives, Democrats, who had come out and in a video saying, to the military, do not follow illegal orders. Freedom of speech, right? Well, they tried to indict them, and that was just thrown out this morning. So there are, it's like, well, okay, there's that. There's, some of these, the Comey case was thrown out. The Letitia James case was thrown out. But they're actively pursuing people at Trump's behest to go after them. They don't care. They, being Bondi and her minions, do not care about the truth. They do not care about the law. One of the things that Bondi said today during this circus was that she wasn't going to unredact 2 emails because President Trump has privilege. No, he does not. There is no privilege for anybody in these documents except for the victims, according to the law. Everybody else is supposed to be unredacted. Because he's the president of the United States, he does not have that right. This isn't about his presidential communications at all. And it was not in response to a document that was between Trump and an attorney. So, here we go again. They're just not going to follow the law. Like they're not following the law in Minneapolis or the other places that they're raiding. It is against the law to ask somebody for papers. Okay, that is against the law. It is against the law to drag somebody away without a judicial warrant. It is against the law to break into somebody's house without a warrant. Yet this is happening every single day. And people are dying. And the other thing that's happening every single day is that our congressional representatives are trying to get into what I now would call concentration camps. And they're not being allowed in. And this should be a bigger story. Because what is going on in there? We've heard horror stories. We also know that about 1,200 people have disappeared from Alcatraz Island, or whatever the hell it was called, or Alcatraz Alley, or whatever, where they in Florida, where they had undocumented immigrants disappeared. 1,200 people. What happened to them? What happened to them? We also just had a judge come out the other day saying that he had like 78, 76 instances where the DOJ falsely responded to him. And that they were constantly, literally giving documents that were lies to the courts. So this is all happening now. And this idea that somehow that any of these people are patriotic is horseshit. There isn't a patriot among them. There is not a patriot among the MAGA. I have no, other people are kinder. I am not. I believe that, those people have put my family in harm's way. And I don't have any use for them. Now, if they want to change their mind and say, oh my God, whatever, maybe. But at this point, I'm looking to you. I'm looking to people who maybe not have voted last time to form this base, this movement, what we're doing here, we the people, that we need to continue. And so I guess what I want to talk about, it's actually, I feel like I'm a broken record, okay? Because we have to keep the pressure on. We have to keep the pressure on. And, I believe in protests. I believe in, rallies and protests and calling and social media. I think it's really important that on whatever level you can handle, you do that. And I know it's frustrating because it seems such a limited thing to do, but it's what we got. I also think, though my voice is not remotely loud enough, we should have a protest about the Epstein files, about the DOJ. We need and the Supreme Court, because our justice system has gone and collapsed. And it really did start with the Supreme Court and their ruling about Trump and immunity. I mean, they just created a king. They knew what they were doing. These are not stupid people. Now, I don't know whether they regret part of it or whatever. I don't really care. But we need to focus on all of them. We need to make them nervous. And, I just have my suggestions, the things that I keep doing. But I also think it's really important to have conversations. Like I have these conversations with you. So hopefully soon I'll be able to maybe have real conversations live. But I really need you to know that you are important. You are so important. So don't think that inaction doesn't make a difference. We can see right now that the rule of law is the first thing that goes. Okay? There is no law. And so that's what we're seeing before our very eyes. When the law is not as we were brought up to believe, justice, we all know there's been a long road to get social justice. We have not finished that work, but that there was at least a standard that we could sort of rely on, that, that there was some level of fairness. That is no longer the fact. It's just not. And so we are watching this happen in real time. I saw it. We saw, I'm sure some of you watched the Bondi thing. It was horrifying. She is horrifying. I do hope that someday all of these people get their due. That is one of my biggest hopes. In the meantime, we have work to do. Do what you can, as I always tell you. Talk about it, call about it, write about it, whatever. But stay connected, stay engaged. We are at a very pivotal moment, is what my instinct is telling me, because this is going to be a bridge too far for many people who are maybe, well, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. We are there, folks. We are absolutely there. And nobody's going to save us, not the courts, not anybody else. It's going to be us. Us. Remember your power.